From IsReal News, this is the midday briefing for Monday, March 2nd. U.S. President Donald Trump says operations against Iran could continue beyond the originally projected 4 to 5 weeks. Speaking at the White House, Trump said the United States has the capacity to extend the campaign if necessary, and reiterated that Iran will not be allowed to obtain a nuclear weapon. In interviews, he did not rule out the possibility of deploying U.S. ground forces if required. This comes as U.S. military operations enter their third day. A senior Israeli military official estimates that at least 2 additional weeks of fighting may be required to achieve operational objectives against Iran. The Israeli Air Force is expanding aerial dominance over Iranian airspace, with Chief of Staff Lieutenant General Eyal Zamir instructing forces to prioritize reducing missile fire. This follows intensified strikes aimed at suppressing launch capabilities. The Israel Defense Forces report striking more than 70 Hezbollah targets across Lebanon, including weapons depots and launch positions. The military says the sites were used to facilitate attacks against Israeli forces and civilians. This occurs as hostilities expand beyond Iran into Lebanon. The IDF also confirmed a targeted strike in Beirut against a senior militant figure. Separately, Palestinian Islamic Jihad announced that the commander of its military wing in Lebanon, Adham al-Othman, was killed in an Israeli strike in the Dahieh district. This takes place amid renewed air activity over southern Beirut. U.S. forces say they struck the Iranian drone carrier vessel Shahid Bagheri shortly after the start of Operation Epic Fury. The Pentagon reports that the action was intended to degrade Iran's drone launch capability. This comes as U.S. and allied forces report continued missile and drone threats across the region. Iranian state media claim a new and heavier generation of missiles was launched toward American bases in the region. Reuters also reports explosions east of Riyadh. Qatar's defense ministry says it intercepted and downed 2 Iranian Su-24 fighter jets approaching its territory. This occurs as Gulf states face sustained regional spillover. In Cyprus, officials say indications suggest drones launched toward British bases may have originated from Hezbollah in Lebanon. The British Defense Secretary earlier confirmed that missiles were fired from Iran toward Cyprus, though London does not believe British bases were directly targeted. This comes as NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte voiced support for the U.S. and Israeli actions, calling them important for limiting Iran's nuclear and ballistic capabilities. In Kuwait, a U.S. fighter pilot was located safe after her aircraft crashed. Reports indicate at least 3 American aircraft were downed amid what officials describe as bilateral fire. This occurs as air operations intensify across multiple theaters. Iranian media report heavy explosions near the nuclear facility and airbase in Isfahan, which initial information attributes to a U.S. strike. This follows previous waves of attacks on Iranian command and control infrastructure. Reuters reports that Mohammad Khomeini, grandson of Islamic Republic founder Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, is being discussed as a possible candidate in succession deliberations following the reported killing of Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. Iranian authorities have not formally confirmed a leadership transition. This comes as internal decision-making structures remain under scrutiny. Hezbollah parliamentary bloc head Mohammad Rad issued a written statement after reports circulated that he had been killed overnight in Beirut, indicating he remains alive. This follows earlier unverified claims regarding casualties among senior figures. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu visited the site of a deadly missile strike in Beit Shemesh, where 9 people were killed. He described the confrontation as part of a broader regional struggle. This occurs as Israeli civilian areas continue to face rocket and missile fire. Israel's chief of staff stated that military operations will not conclude until threats from Lebanon are removed, and that northern communities will not face further evacuations. This comes as the Israeli military reinforces both defensive and offensive operations along the northern border. The chairman of the U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff said the campaign is not a single-night operation and that additional aircraft are en route to the region. U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth described the air campaign as the largest in U.S. history and said operations will continue toward defined objectives. This follows ongoing coordination between Washington and Jerusalem. Those are the latest headlines from IsReal News.